Hi, my name is Mike Desmond. I'm the product manager over the screw system line of products at SENCO. SENCO offers a wide variety of collated screws for many different applications, but right now I want to talk specifically about drywall and drywall screws. There are two main categories of drywall, those for interior applications like this one here, and those for exterior applications that are most common on commercial steel job sites. On the interior side, there are several different types of drywall, including those for moisture resistance, fire resistance, and also some soundproofing. But in general, we're talking about standard drywall today. There are many different types and sizes of drywall. Most common is 4 foot by 8 foot sheets. 4 by 12 is also common, and the most common thickness is a 1/2 inch. On the exterior application, it's actually called fiberglass matte gypsum sheathing, technically speaking, but in general, it's just drywall with a fiberglass sheet instead of the paper. That is intended to provide a vapor barrier and also be more moisture resistant when it's being used in exterior applications. Again, several different thicknesses and board sizes, most common being 4 by 8 or 4 by 12, and then 1/2 inch and a little bit more common 5/8 inch thick boards. Nails can be used to fasten drywall, but screws are very beneficial because they really prevent the nail popping associated with buildings as they settle. Nails obviously can mainly be used in drywall to wood applications. Another thing to keep in mind when driving drywall screws is the depth of the fastener. It's one of the most important aspects. So it's very important to seat the screw just below the surface without breaking the paper. So I've driven 3 screws here to give you an idea of what I'm talking about. In this case, the screw is not all the way down. It'll be very difficult to get that connection smooth. Here's an example of a screw that is overdriven and is broken through the paper, so that is a weak connection. That is not right. And then the correct way to drive the screw would be to drive it just below the surface again without breaking the paper. SENCO auto-feed screw guns utilize a depth sensing clutch so that you can set the tool to drive it just to the perfect depth every time. We've also implemented a domed shaped nose piece. The idea is to dimple the drywall as you're driving the screw to give the mud a place to seat and really eases the finishing steps associated with drywall when you get into the mud applications. Some of the general features of drywall screws in general. All drywall screws have a bugle head, which is a very smooth head intended to help enter into the paper without ripping through it. All of them are designed with a Phillips recess. There are 2 different types of common finish. One is our gray phosphate, which is a very economical interior surface finish. The other is clear zinc, which is more common for that exterior gypsum sheathing application where you need a little bit better weatherproofing. The most common spacing for when you're putting drywall screws in is 8 inches around the perimeter and 12 inches in what they call the field, which is really the area in the middle of the drywall board. But consult your drywall manufacturer's guidelines for the proper fastener spacing when you're installing drywall. SENCO offers 3 different types of screws for doing drywall. We have our O6A series screw, which is for drywall to wood applications. We have a O6B series drywall screw that is for the drywall to light steel, and O6C series screw that is for your drywall to heavy steel applications. To give some of the specifics on each of these, starting with the O6A, is a coarse thread drywall screw. It has a sharp point, 8 TPI screw. It's gray or black phosphate because no corrosion protection is necessary. Remember that some manufacturers require black phosphate for mud adhesion, so it is important to get the right finish. As far as installation depth and how do you choose the right length of screw to use, the rule of thumb in wood construction is 1 inch of penetration. So if you're driving in through thicker drywall, then you need a little bit longer fastener. So you just have to take that into consideration. When driving wood drywall screws, faster is better. There really is no speed that creates a problem in general for the application. To give you an idea of how fast you can install these screws, I have our 5,000 RPM auto feed screw gun here. Remember to always wear your safety glasses when using power tools. And I will show you how this works. Basically, I have the screws already preloaded, so these are our O6A screws, and the way our tools work is you just pull the trigger and push forward, As I said, it has a depth sensing clutch, so it sets it right to the correct depth right away. All right, now moving on to our next series of drywall screws, the O6B series, which is very similar to the A's, is really for your drywall to really light gauge steel, like your 25 to 20 gauge steel. The most common screw used for this is, again, a number 6 by 1.25 inch. It is a fine thread, 15 threads per inch fastener. It also has a sharp point, and it is black phosphate or gray phosphate, because no corrosion protection is necessary. One of the big differences is for installation requirement, the only requirement is that you get 3 full threads through the back side of the steel that you're driving into. So that kind of leads you to correct selection as far as length goes. And just like your drywall to wood applications, faster is better. There really is no need to be concerned about the speed you're driving screws. Moving on to our final series of screws, the O6C series. This is your drywall to heavy steel fastener. With this screw, you're driving into much thicker steel, and it requires a drill point. This is your most common fastener, which is a number 6 by 1.25 inch. It includes a fine thread as well, 20 threads per inch. It has a drill point as opposed to a sharp point, and the finish is clear zinc instead of black phosphate to allow it to survive in exterior applications. With the O6C, the speed of the drive does start to play into your decision on what tool is acceptable to use. When you're going into steel, if you get into really thick applications, you sometimes need to back off to about 2,500 RPMs as opposed to the 5,000 RPMs of our high-speed tool. SENCO does offer a 2,500 RPM auto feed screw gun for those applications. And now I'll let you have a look at what driving a drill point drywall screw looks like. Again, remember, wear your safety glasses. Now I will switch out the screws from sharp points to drill point. Set our wall down here. And again, it works the same way. Just pull the trigger and push forward. So as you can see, SENCO offers multiple screws for the drywall application. So when you are hanging your drywall, just remember to select the right type of screw, the right speed tool, and make sure you have selected the proper length fastener for your application.